Hello and welcome back, everybody. Again, we do apologize for the technical difficulty that we did just experience. I know we're still getting things just organized right now so that we can bring you back into this next match, which is going to be Oasis. And kind of as we were discussing a little bit here, we know that LFT did have the Pharah Mercy play. We've seen it come out before. LiViD may look to kind of respond against this. And, let's kind of go over that just a moment for those that might just be coming back from the couple-minute break that we had there. Katrina, what do you think they're going to maybe change outside of that? Do you think they'll go with the McCree 76 Widow? How do you think they'll play it?
I do like Saturn's McCree play. I think that is a great way to deal with a farmer seat. However, I'm hoping to see Salty on the Diva get more in the face of Sun on that Pharah. Sometimes when you are playing Overwatch, you're either going to confront the Pharah right away as that's destroying your team on the ground, or ignore that Pharah and deal with everybody else on the ground. I think this is the prior that right now LiViD needs to deal with. They need to address the flying Egyptian in the room, let's just say,
And
and get rid of her very quickly.
I agree with you. And it's got to be earlier than later. I mean, they don't want to see if they're like, because again, there is those, two viewpoints. Do you try and put all of that effort and focus onto just trying to hard counter the Pharah? Do you try and bring it more to the floor? You want to bring it more to the front line. You want to try and get those picks early so that you negate the value of what the Pharah can bring. So they really do have a choice here. But I honestly think that using that McCree with the play that they've had so far is going to be a better benefit, especially when we come into Oasis where we have those smaller locations. I mean, of course, with the university, there's a lot of open space. There's a lot of opportunity between there. And I think having to focus that Deadeye onto that Pharah and just try to get those shots off is going to be critical for them moving forward.
I completely agree. And right now, I'm also hoping that LiViD does bring out more Zarya. We did see Saturn
Mhm.
being able to charge that Graviton Surge extremely quickly. And
Yes.
even though he is the McCree specialist of this team, that is another excellent counter to the Pharah, being able to take all of that splash damage. And it is amplified now, given the Pharah buffs, or I suppose nerfs, if you are dealing with a
Mhm.
very angry Zarya. So that could be another way that LiViD could capitalize on LFT's pick. However, with Oasis, you can see a lot of different tank compositions. So I'm very curious to see which maps will be running dive, if we will see mirror matchups. I think that this map allows both teams to be flexible and a bit more reactive to each other, even
Yeah.
though when we do play, we like to encourage teams to take charge, be more proactive. Sometimes having that switch, being able to adapt to your opponents quickly, gives you the ultimate team win.
Definitely. And again, going onto this control point, I'm curious, like you said, to see if we're going to get that 3-3 composition from both sides. Is it going to be a somewhat mirror composition for strategy? And it's really going to come down to who can play that more effectively. We saw that, LiViD has a really good structure around that 3-3 composition. LFT, maybe not so much. Going against Path, they weren't able to really optimize that 3-3 usage. So going into this map, that could spell disasters for LFT unless they really just get those early picks, gain the momentum, and start getting those specific target caller, whoever, just making sure that they can shut them down. It's going to be impressive to see.
And when you're confronted with a very strong triple composition, there's two ways you can really go. You can have one of your own, of course, which we do see quite often, or you can use the Wrecking Ball, the Doomfist, the Sombra, and I think LFT is more leaning towards the disruptive route when dealing with this triple tank, triple support meta. And Team LiViD, once again, yes, they are going to be using this try to intrude composition for University of Oasis, which I think is a very wise pick. However, they will have to be careful for that pit in the center of the map, as if a Reinhardt or a Zarya fall into that, they are practically dead and gone from the team fight for another 20 seconds due to their low mobility. We also do have triple tank, triple support on the side of LFT. This is a complete mirror matchup. Whoever will get this first pick or break the shield first will have a major advantage.
And they're going to get a great triple biotic grenade in the back. That's going to spell disaster here for LFT, getting that early pick here on Salty, taking down Dunks as well and completely pressuring them away. Nice job, double kill by Dunks, and they've just managed to completely pressure LFT off this point.
Bo's anti-nade completely defined that entire fight, and Dunks is almost at an Earth Shatter because of that. Dunks is at 83% to Vita Coco's 17 right now. This Earth Shatter differential will be vital for the next team fight, as Earth Shatter can be a game winning, of course, but also team fight winning ultimate. Right now, you also do see Rocker being close to rallies at 52%, but here comes the aggressive initiation from Vita Coco.
Seeing if Iron can mitigate some incoming damage. The Earth Shatter landing on the entire team, looking to push them back and completely prevent them from any movement, as they are gonna just have an entire team kill here and force a reset, 28% and climbing.
That was so good coming in from Dunks, being able to get so many players in that Earth Shatter, and that aggression allows Salty, Rocker, Saturn, Burn. They are all so close to their own ultimates, only having to use one. An amazing investment and overall gain for the ultimate economy of Team LiViD. Nishik, though, will have a nano boost in this next fight.
Seeing if they can get some pressure now. Vita Coco self-destruct now into the back, trying to hopefully claim one. Doesn't manage to get it. Still gonna try and force them back. LFT, another biotic grenade though on the return side. LiViD gonna need to be careful tucking around that wall. Getting some great protection though. Gonna now start pushing back, shoving against this team, since they did manage to get Coco out of the fight here. And they're gonna have to, oh, and there's the staggers that they're not gonna want. There's both supports along with the DMAC onto Iron.
Yes, and they're holding them at this choke right at their spawn. 70% is on the clock for Team LiViD right now, but there are vital ultimates now online for LFT with Earth Shatter, Graviton Surge, and of course that Nano Boost ready for this next fight. For Team LiViD to succeed and maintain this point, they will have to be a bit more conservative with their ultimate use and try to bait out some of these attackers.
Vita Coco now finally getting that Earth Shatter, is going to use it in the back, trying to see if they can get the follow-up, but not gaining as much out of it. With the following of the Graviton trying to prevent them, do they have the damage? But a return as well. Graviton on both sides. Vita Coco going to be locked down, as they do have the Nano Boost as well, but going to finally fade. Seeing if Saturn can maintain this again with that Zarya play that we saw earlier, doing a great job on this point. 99-0, wanting to claim this 100-0 as they are looking to push them back. But LFT now starting to gain the advantage. Rally going to give some buffer here and allow them to turn it back.
Yes, and right now we kind of see why Brigitte is so necessary to Reinhardt's survival in lore and in-game. Rocker was taken out quite early, which made Dunk's aggression not really as effective there. Without all of that extra armor and heals from his Squire, Dunks did fall quite early, and there are ultimates online with the rally initiating this next fight.
And self-destruct in the back, able to get Sun. They're not going to have that support, needing to be careful on the return, using the sound barrier as well, coming out by LiViD and LFT. Getting a lot of defensive structure here for them to stay alive with 30% in climbing. Pushed away in the corner, Dunks on the front. Another biotic grenade landing in the back. KC along with OG needing to be careful, as the damage is going to be sufficient on this pressure, with Iron getting DMAC. Still trying to keep onto this point, hoping for the respawns to come out here, as they are in a desperation mode with that Graviton, looking to pull them back with another follow-up Earth Shatter as well by Dunks, completely preventing them from gaining anything out of it. From 100 to 42, LiViD takes the first round.
And you did see Nishik almost being able to touch that point, as Ana, unfortunately, that character was not able to make it on time, but brilliant plays coming in from Team LiViD. I want to highlight Bo. Bo has been getting anti-nades on every single fight that are ensuring Team LiViD's victory during these massive team fights. I feel like every single play, everyone on LFT is practically purple. So once again, thank your supports, endorse your supports after every match, everybody. They are the reason why you win a lot of the times.
And like you said earlier, again, the pivotal transition that can happen in a fight because of that nade. I mean, it's crushing, and you're seeing it benefit LiViD right now because they're able to gain more out of it. LFT gaining a few opportunities, but not many here.
Yes, and both of these teams are running dive tanks right now, but with very different DPS choices. Sun on that Hanzo versus Saturn on the McCree. Who will come out on top? That is what I'm going to be watching.
You do see LFT, though, having the high ground advantage, both with Iron along with Vita Coco, as they're trying to get a good positioning here onto this team of LiViD, starting to retreat towards that outer side near the street, now starting to get the engage underneath that choke point as they're looking to start flanking in the back. It will be Iron now going in the back line to try and harass against the supports, but Bo getting a nice kill onto Vita Coco, but OG immediately getting him back online so that they can sustain these numbers. KC also taking out Saturn, and they're being able to do quite a bit here, but they've managed to lose the point. LiViD now continuing to maintain this as they have the numbers advantage in favor. KC looking for some sightlines, not going to gain as much out of it. High ground brawl going with the tanks, along with Mercy just giving a lot of sustained healing here. Nobody really able to connect anything further as the bionic grenade lands, but nobody to follow up here onto LiViD. Seeing if they can get some opportunity, having the movement speed by the Lucio to maneuver around this team effectively, as the Dragon Strike's going to come through. Nobody really going to get hit by it, though, as Saturn looks to follow up now with that Tracer play. Going to switch, getting that kill onto Vita Coco, as they're still going to maintain this with 35% and climbing.
Yes, right now, even though LFT does have that high sustain coming in from OG on the Mercy, Team LiViD has 3 supports online and extra armor coming in with Rocker on the Brigitte. Bo is able to have that Transcendence available and can relax a little bit more in the backline, knowing that those dive tanks of Salty and Dunks will be able to support him and be quite quick. But Sun is switching over to that trusty Pharah. The Pharmacy is back and can spell Disruption for Rocker. Here comes the self-destruct, though.
Seeing if they can get something out of it. Does manage to get OG taking out the Mercy. Not going to have that Pharmacy comp as they're going to force them back. Sun all alone in the high ground with a little bit of damage done, but they need to try and respond against it. Self-destruct in the back, trying to at least gain something since it was demeched. Now the Primal Rage coming out by the Coco, contesting against Rocker, seeing if they can get those staggered picks here to hopefully turn this around as it's already at 75%. Primal's going to finally end, not getting much more out of it as they have a return. It will be Dunks using it to try and harass them away, seeing if they can just isolate them to claim this victory here onto Oasis as we still have them in this fight. Now with the Pharmacy composition high overhead, being able to regroup with the 2 of them, nobody able to really handle against it. No hit scan as they do still have this opportunity to turn it back around. Numbers in favor of LFT. Getting onto the point as the Transcendence is now going to be forced out. Bao having this chance to keep them alive. Self-destruct as well. The spike damage might be able to net more. Does net more, gaining 2 supports out of this, and they want to turn this back. They're not looking to let this go as Vita Coco continues to harass. Seeing Salty in the back, seeing if they can hopefully get to that high ground and contest against it once again with the self-destruct, overtime ticking, managing to turn it, and this is where LFT is going to have to really play smart. Sun having the Rocket Barrage, and also soon to have not only the Meteor Strike, but the Primal Rage as well.
Yes, I wish Team LiViD would have backed out of that fight a little bit sooner, but I would like to point out that KC has switched onto this Doomfist. Although he was already on the Widowmaker, these 2 members of Talon can fill similar roles. Yes, Widowmaker does have that sniping ability, but Doomfist can get just as many one-shot kills on some more of the fragile heroes, such as Bo on the Zenyatta and Antol on the Lucio. So watch for early picks coming in with the Meteor Strike almost available.
Here comes that positioning, high overhead, seeing if they can get that Rocket Barrage, but is going to go down. Saturn doing the job well as they do get that hit scan on the high ground. Numbers advantage now in favor of LiViD. Seeing if they can try and regroup here in the back. You do see a great defensive positioning, though, by LiViD, not wanting to commit just yet as OG gets the res. Self-destruct as well, trying to claim one, but they're going to tuck around the corner just in time with Bao getting a nice kill here onto San Bo. Great job on that Zenyatta to turn it back as it's 55% and climbing. LFT now getting a little staggered here. They need to be careful. You do see the position high overhead. Iron not wanting to go down just yet, giving some opportunity here for us to continue staying strong, as it will be LiViD wanting to prevent them from gaining any more opportunity. Leap gonna come in now by Vita Coco, seeing if he can buy a few more seconds. Not gonna do much as he is instantly deleted on the way in, as you do see the Genji as well. Sun jumping into the back, keeping it strong, as it's gonna be KC with the Doomfist trying to maintain it. Salt along with Bo again getting a double kill here for LiViD, and they are just dominating on this control point, claiming the 2nd match.
You can see why LiViD would choose Oasis. Not only did they dominate in such an impressive fashion during both City Center and University, I would just like to applaud this team for their versatility in their tank compositions. Outstanding play by Dunks on the Winston and the, oh my goodness, on the Winston and the Reinhardt. That is the earth shatter of my dreams coming in right there. And that was able to allow the rest of his team to gain so much ultimate charge and eventually the victory on Oasis. So ultimately, well played to both of these teams, but LiViD, that earth shatter, that was so much fun for me to watch.
I agree with you. And to give a lot of credit to, I know we always look at the supports. We look at the switch from Saturn coming out, going onto that hit scan, taking out the Pharah, making sure to focus on it. But Bo, with that Zenyatta play and the Ana play, really was a pivotal puzzle piece to that picture. I mean, seriously, we saw it in that Earth Shatter follow-up, the Biotic Grenade to follow up, Zenyatta getting that triple kill, pushing out towards the end of Oasis in that 2nd round, the Discord orb being placed correctly onto those vital targets that they needed to get rid of, and they were just honestly dominating because of it. They really catered that support role and just made sure that they could flourish against this team of LFT.
I feel like we're watching 12 players playing on a single team. That is just how solid every member of LiViD was on a variety of support, tank, DPS roles. They're so flexible and individually talented. And to see these players be put together and find success, I hope we do see a bit more of that tonight.
Agreed. And we'll go ahead and now make the toss here to the desk. We want to get their input. We want to see what they've been thinking about this after that first and second round. And honestly, I'm curious to see how they're going to feel about LiViD coming back here right now on this control point. Take it away, guys, for me.
Well, we were a little disappointed not quite to see the 8-7 on Lunar, but it was a fun Lunar nonetheless. And we thought we might see that draw come out, but we ultimately didn't quite see that. But we're 1-1, which means that there's still a lot of Overwatch to be played. So, Mukaibu, what are some of the standout moments? What is happening in this game from your perspective? Walk us through it.
It's really a tale of two maps. I mean, not to belabor the obvious too much, but on Horizon, it's like one of the teams was replaced by pod people between map 1 and map 2 in that short little tech break. On the first map on Horizon, you had LFT just running almost whatever they wanted with authority and pretty cleanly dominating their second push. And then on Oasis, LFT looked like Diamonds versus GMs almost. It was brutal. So LiViD really gets a ton of credit. I was wondering in the analyst chat why they would pick Oasis, but then I remembered Oasis is the map they took off of Path to Poverty as well. This is just their favorite map. It plays into their aggressive playstyle really nicely.
Yeah, they have a great style on that map where they're constantly switching up their comps, and they're running goats, they're running the dive goats, they're running different versions of things, and I mean it really is a flexible map for them. They looked a little less flexible on Oasis. So Paulsable, what do you think the difference is between those two maps for them?
Honestly, it kind of looked like we had two different sets of teams playing in these maps, right? First map, Horizon, it was LFT with all of the aggression, all of the ultimate advantages, all of the nice micro and macro plays that really just opened it up for them. And then it's like LiViD just walked into their house at night between maps, stole all of those advantages, and said, these are ours now. Now we're going to get aggressive. So I think if LiViD want to try and stay in this series, it is 1-1. It's more than possible for them to win this out still, but they got to speed their game back up. They came out with a very slow comp on City Center of Oasis. They came out with that double sniper. LiViD took so hard advantage of that. They were like, oh, you're going to look for picks? How about we just destroy your front line instead? And also your back line. And then we'll just do it again and again. So LiViD really got to speed up if they want to come back.
Okay, so we're going to be getting ready to go into the second half here in just a little bit, but I want to know: are we sticking with our picks? Are we confident in where we're going, or are we maybe doubting it a little bit? Mukaibu, I'll throw you this one first.
I'll stick with LFT. I'm still a believer. 3-1.
All right. Okay, 3-1. That's confident. That means they're coming back pretty big in the second half. What about you, Paulsable?
I've got to agree. I think, like Mukai said, Team LiViD really comfortable on Oasis. They didn't show us that on Horizon, and if they don't show us that on the upcoming maps, it's going to be LFT's map pick now. So they can bring us somewhere. They know that
it's going to be Lijiang.
It's going to be Lijiang, which is interesting because LFT lost Lijiang in the first series, but it was pretty close, if I remember. Well, actually, it was close on one of them. We'll see if they bring out something different here, but I still think LFT can bring this back.
Okay, all right. I think that's fair. For me, I'm still going to be sticking with LiViD. I like the pace they set, and I think they carry that onwards because, LFT, they are working on that fatigue. They played 5 games earlier. That's a lot of games to be played. Now they're on to game 7 for them for the day with a minimal break. So, I'm going to go for the guys that are fresh, but I hope our casters are fresh and ready because it's going to be coming back over to them while we wait for that map selection to come out. So let's get it back on over to Rich Rad and Katrina. Guys, on over to you.
Yes, indeed. Again, thank you so very much again for that overview as we do look to move into the next one. And as we look to get into this next one, it will be Lijiang Tower. Katrina, what do you think is going to happen here? After the analysts have already looked at it.
I was very surprised to see LFT had chosen Lijiang Tower, as our analysts did agree, especially since they had managed to have a letter number at the end of that very first round against Path to Poverty. So I'm also a bit curious that they are choosing a control map right after they did get swept in a control map of Oasis. So they're going to probably be looking to redeem themselves on multiple factors. LFT, they've already played this map tonight. They know some of the pitfalls that they could run into. I just want them to have a bit more success this time around and on this control map. So I think this could be a path to redemption for LFT, and it could lead to them having the 2-1 lead as we do go into our next map.
All right, and again, yes, we are just having a few moments here as we do get into this next one. And yeah, we're going to go ahead into that map pool, as we said, going into Lijiang Tower. And we'll just give it just a brief moment. Again, there has been some connection issue with one of the casters, myself, actually. So we'll give it just a brief moment here as we do go into it. I do apologize for that match.
And as we do get ready for this next map, we will be thinking about what types of different compositions are accessible for Lijiang Tower. I think we do see quite a bit of flexibility depending on which subsection of Lijiang we are on. Specifically with Control Center, we've even seen a couple of Maze being thrown in there to counter a lot of Reinhardt Zarya. So I'm hoping to see some more crazy stuff. You know me, I love a bit of a break in the typical Overwatch we do see. However, Gardens favors quite a bit of dive, but if we do end up heading to Night Market, that does favor LFT in that there's so many different ways to utilize Pharah. There's many different corners for her to duck around. I know that, not speaking from experience, definitely speaking from experience, Pharahs have ruined my day on Lijiang. So I can see why they would gamble on this map once more.
And, you know, even further, since they've already had the control map down path, and again, as the desk said, you know, it was one that they felt, you know, dominant on. It's one that they felt very comfortable with when they were going against Paths of Poverty. I'm curious to see if they can try and transition that now into, you know, this again, keeping that momentum, wanting to still stay strong here so that they can really keep this pressure onto LFT. And again, they've got to have a lot of pressure on them right now. They know that they still have a long haul ahead of them to really continue moving forward on this, to having the opportunity to go into the grand finals.
Yes, and I wonder if stamina does have anything to do with this pick. As I did say before, this is our second control map we will be seeing in a row, and there can be no tie on control. And these rounds tend to go a bit quicker, I would say, than our Horizon Lunar Colonies and Temple of Anubises. So that could be a factor as we do go further and further on throughout this matchup. And it does look like we are almost ready to head over to get our passports out and go to Lijiang Tower. So if you had to visit any single map in Overwatch, Rich Red, where would you go first?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I would honestly say maybe Nepal, just because any map, just because it's so tranquil. It's just it's so nice. It's zen. Ironic that I said that because of the statues of Zenyatta, but we're not going to go there. But we'll go ahead now into Lijiang Tower. As we said, sorry about that. There were some complications with the video feed for me so that we can get this amazing continued round going into the third round of Lijiang Tower, seeing what LFT is going to do going into this control point. Again, they're going to have to really come together and see if they can contest against Team LiViD, who's already demonstrated how well they're able to play on a control map.
I'm going to take a wild guess here and say that we will see a lot of heavy tank compositions, but right now Sun is considering playing Mei, so you know I'm kind of rooting for this Mei to be quite successful now. But on the side of Team LiViD, no bias, I promise, we are seeing that classic triple tank, triple support composition. But with the Lucio and the Brigitte, we have a Zenyatta. I do like this pick, especially when you are almost guaranteed to run up against a Reinhardt or other heavier tanks, as that Discord can shred all of that health pool down quite quickly, and you get a lot more shield breaking potential as opposed to the Moira or the Ana that you will see in other triple compositions. Now on the side of LFT, here we go. They are sticking with this Mei. Right now we do have Nishik and OG on the supports of Lucio and Ana. So both teams will be quite speedy getting to this first point for their initiation.
Dunk's already in a position. This critical wall is going to be very important for them. Already getting a separation, forcing them to go around the back. Biotic Grenade going to come out quickly as well by LFT to sustain through the damage, but Vita Coco getting very low in the front does finally go down by Dunks here, as they're going to be forced back once again. They don't want to commit too much more to this. They need to stay alive. They need to get Vita Coco back into this fight to make sure that they can contest against it and allow Team LiViD to just gain it right now.
Yes, that Zenyatta pick has proven to be so successful right now, as the Discord orbs and communication of these targets have led to an early take for Team LiViD. But right now, Nishik is about to have that nano boost, most likely going onto Vita Coco, allowing him to go absolutely crazy against the side of Team LiViD.
And there it is, trying to get some damage in the back to hopefully generate a good ultimate here with that Earth Shatter, managing to get the pin into the back onto Saturn, taking out that Zarya play, as now the wall's going to come out again, separating these supports, benefiting them heavily here, but now once again going to be forced back. Dunk's getting the return, able to take out Vita Coco as the Transcendence will be forced. Earth Shatter claiming 3, shutting them down in the back and cleaning up once again here. LiViD just demonstrating their aggressive pressure and evaluating the plays by LFT and completely back into their favor.
That shatter was once again brilliant. Both Transcendence allowed Dunks to be so aggressive, even though Saturn was picked off quite early. But that does lead to a difference in the Graviton battle, as KC has one available for this next fight. Will Salty eat it again?
Seeing if they can get that high ground position again, but there's the grab, not going to be eaten. I2 missed it. 4 members away on this point as they're looking to turn it. Sun in the back, though, still trying to sustain through the incoming damage, as the Blizzard is now going to be dropped in the back, making sure to zone them away so that they can try and turn this back around. 1 member still contesting on this team, as it will finally go back to LFT.
I have not seen the Blizzard used that way in so long. You often do see this against those heavier tank compositions just to stop them, but I do love that strategy for that Mei. There are so many more ultimates online for LFT now, as you do see an Earth Shatter, Sound Barrier. I mean, there are so many tools that they have to play with, and especially with the early kills onto Reinhardt and Brigitte, they can save some of these.
That wall was perfect. It prevented both of them from an escape pattern, and they were just easily able to dominate on this front line, and that's what they're going to look to do here. They're going to try and use these choke points, these corridors, to their advantage. Now that they've gained the point, they're going to have to be really strategic now on how they want to move in, and now Rocker's going to come out with a Mei of their own.
It's Mei versus Mei. This is going to be quite the walled off adventure, and Dunks might be the first victim right now, as his own teammate's wall has led to his death sentence, but the self-destruct does come out.
Seeing if they can gain anything out of it, wasn't able to. The walls back and forth, trying to prevent them. Dunks, just because he was too far forward, got picked into the corner and taken out. Numbers advantage in favor of LFT with a double kill now onto both Lucio and Zarya, taking out Saturn and Ansal, as we do continue to see them pressure them back. The aggression is real. They want to keep this team of LiViD away from that point.
And now Rocker is going back to that Brigitte, giving up on the Mei. I do like the choice for Brigitte, being able to back up Dunks more, but they have just lost Antle. That is a vital kill.
And seeing if they can try and gain more out of it. They're at 73%, not much time left remaining. They've lost that support, so they're being pushed back. The shield just about to break as they force the Graviton, but the Transcendence comes out, trying to maintain it. The wall gonna also prevent them with an Earth Shatter coming out on the front. Dunks looking to do as much as possible on this front line, but the Nano Boost on Vita Coco, looking to get the extra pressure, but they're forcing them back. Rocker getting a double, Saturn following up as well. Triple by Rocker, Salty to clean it up, and they're gonna manage to turn it back around at 95% correction, 96.
Now, there is only one team fight win necessary. That is the win condition for LFT, and they do have plenty of ultimates that will be available. However, that was brilliant coming in from Rocker. I'm so glad he made that switch back to the Brigitte, being very aggressive and targeting Vita Coco, who has been just as aggressive in his own. Look for that stun to come out to prevent Vita Coco's Earth Shatter.
And you are seeing them pressure in the back. They have Mei needing to be very careful, forcing the crowd freeze to try and survive. Earth Shatter in the back now with self-destruct high overhead, claiming 1. KC going down on the Zarya, as the Blizzard is looking to prevent Poe from getting anywhere near this team to heal on the front line. As they do get the turnaround, it will be Dunks gaining the kill, 99-96 into the overtime. As Team LiViD is still here, a Graviton now going to be used as well to try and prevent them from getting anything out of this. Nobody home for the team of LFT, as it will be this round completed in favor of Team LiViD.
After being spawn camped for so long, Rocker is able to switch back to the Brigitte from the Mei, finishes the experiments, and goes straight back to traditional triple Overwatch. I mean, it's a reason why we see it so often. It works right there, and we do see some more divey compositions, though, coming into Gardens. This is my favorite part of Lijiang Tower. I think that there's a lot of things you can do, and we can even see some Wrecking Ball. So I'm hoping that Vita Coco will whip that hero out. However, it looks like he will be on the Reinhardt. There is, once again, triple tank, triple support online for LFT. However, we do see Saturn running a McCree, most likely predicting that Sun will be running a Pharah instead, as this map we do see quite a bit of environmental kills with Pharahs, so this might be a surprise to Team LiViD.
And the 3-2 composition one isn't still bad for them. It's a good opportunity. They're going to get forced back immediately, though. You see LFT being very aggressive to force them away, waiting to see how they want to engage this, since they do not want to have that early pick by the Lucio boop off the bridge. Starting to fall back now. Vita Coco still holding strong on the front. Going to get knocked back slightly as they're still maintaining this here. Control point now becoming active, doing a great job zoning them away, starting to turn it around, keeping that player in the back as it's a 1-for-1 exchange. Full tank's going to go down, needing to get a follow-up here so that they do have the numbers advantage. As they manage to get it, LFT controls the point, but the DMEC is going to come out onto Iron. They won't have that frontline tank still, since they are waiting for Vita Coco to come back online. As they just continue to skirmish, you're going to see LiViD try to fall back and regroup now.
Yes, I won't be surprised if LiViD also changes up their composition quite a bit, as LFT is able to control so much space right now with this triple. We do see KC having a Graviton Surge available. I won't be shocked if we do see even some spawn camping coming in from LFT, taking advantage of the amount of space that they had built from taking this first point. However, yes, we do see Saturn and Dunks going to the heavier tanks, and it is Goats v Goats. The only difference between these two matchups is an Ana and a Zenyatta.
Seeing if they can get that backline position, using that flanking maneuver to try and get into the back line, with Vita Coco leading the way, getting very low and needing to be careful. Sound barrier along with a rally coming out by LFT, making sure that they can withstand it as Iron gets the triple with the DMEC. There is perfect positioning by that self-destruct. So many ultimates used here, and they're honestly still going to be able to keep one with that nano boost.
And that nano boost is so useful unless it does go onto OG, which when I have played Ana has never happened. I've never given a boostio. But anyways, Bo does have a Transcendence available, but Nishik has that anti-nade to counter this. So right now, I'm in favor of LFT being able to win this team fight.
Nano boost on the front. Vita Coco trying to get a lot out of it, as the self-destruct is going to be tucked in, though, by LiViD. Seeing if they can get a kill. Not going to get it. Earth Shatter coming out by Vita Coco again, looking to make some huge gains right now on this push, pressuring them back with the supports, gaining a kill. Double here coming out for Sun, as they're still in a great spot and completely turning this last encounter they had back around in their favor.
There is only one push left, and no one is near the point right now. Vita Coco is leading his entire team, trying to stun Dunks out of Oblivion, but the Doomfist will be able to make overtime occur, with Rocker finally being taken out.
Pushed back by OG, a great job keeping that support in the back to make sure that they can keep them away. Not going to make it in time with the Lucio, so that's going to be an even 1-for-1 right now as we go into our final map.
Yes, we are going the distance with Li Zhang, and we will be headed to Night Market for our last map. Now, this is where I will not be surprised if we do see the Pharah actually coming out from LFT, but they have seen success with this triple composition and might want to capitalize on their momentum right now. As Team LiViD is setting up, Bo will be going on to the Ana as opposed to the Zenyatta that he was playing with earlier, and right now we will see a mirror composition. I am going to be watching for Vita Coco against Dunks. This Reinhardt v Reinhardt battle will determine whether or not it's the shield breaking or taking out this main tank early, which team has the advantage. But let's change things up a bit. KC is going on to the Sombra, so this early information could definitely give LFT a lot of benefit, even though Team LiViD is on the point a lot earlier.
It's a very risky play. They're wanting to allow them to capture it first, most likely going to. Now they're going to actually maneuver quickly. They may be able to contest it. 8 seconds here to go, but they lack the positional advantage right now. Dunks in the front, going to be able to mitigate that incoming damage. Rocker looking for that stun as well. Hopefully going to have Vita Coco penetrate through this front line to contest against it. It's a pin going to come out, though. There's the follow-up, and that's the disadvantage. They're looking to hold them in this choke point. Now it will be LiViD gaining it with an Earth Shatter coming up immediately. Cannot believe how fast that was to pressure them away, as LFT is at a disadvantage right now and forcing a retreat.
That was so quick how Dunks was able to charge that and just finalizes LFT's failed push there. There are almost no ultimates online for LFT, with Nishik about to have this nano boost. However, there isn't much of an advantage for Team LiViD anymore because Dunks used that Earth Shatter so aggressively. So right now we have a pretty vanilla Overwatch push about to happen. It's anyone's game.
30% in climbing, still in a good spot. They're not out of this yet. Vita Coco now going to get that nano boost to try and contest into the back line. Extra damage with some pressure, but the charge going to be able to be prevented by the bash coming out from Sun, keeping them away, now forcing them out with the Earth Shatter of their own. Vita Coco looking to keep them into the corner with Graviton in return, though. Saturn from LiViD able to pull them together to turn this back around immediately into their favor with the nano boost to secure the damage, as they are still going to climb at 50%.
Saturn has been protecting his team so well on the Zarya. The bubble placement has been phenomenal, allowing for a very high charge. Look at, I mean, Zarya is practically glow in the dark right now. Salty still has a self-destruct available, but all of the armor coming in from Sun, given to LFT, will make it quite difficult to kill the rest of LFT.
Oh, and they're going to be real aggressive. A huge charge now coming out by Saturn on the front, dealing a lot of damage, even though the Graviton is going to come out, pulling them into the wall. OG getting the double on the tanks with the follow-up damage, as they're now looking to completely pressure them off this point. LiViD not going to be able to sustain through the incoming damage, regardless of the last few members, as they will easily be picked off, and now going to try and regroup, restabilize, and look to turn this back after getting that last member.
Yes, but there is 90% on board for Team LiViD. They only need a single fight to win, to take Lijiang overall and the 2-1 lead. Huge momentum shift. OG has Sound Barrier, though. That will allow LFT to stay alive for quite a bit. Definitely going to be able to hold a push or two, even if Dunks gets a great Earth Shatter. If OG is not taken by that, the Sound Barrier will protect the rest of his team.
And LiViD has some time. Here's the self-destruct. Gonna get the knockdown. Iron gonna be picked off in the back, almost getting thrown off the edge there with the self-destruct in return, though. Trying to see if they can get the few picks. Manages to get 3 with the D-Mech. There's the quad. Unbelievable, killing him with the remech as they completely pressure them away. What a play by Iron.
But what a play by Vita Coco to be able to charge that entire team into the range of that self-destruct. You do see self-destruct accompanied by Earth Shatter, by EMP, so many ways to negate the ability of teams to hide or use shields. But, I mean, a good old-fashioned charge will do the trick too, and Vita Coco allowed Iron to have that shining moment.
The synergy between them doing so well and hoping to contain it through the rest of this at 57%. Now looking to continue holding them back as the Biotic Grenade gives them a lot of healing as they continue to move forward. Vita Coco gaining the double, taking out 2. Sun getting a double as well. D-Mech by Vita, and they are in such a great position. Again, they're really demonstrating their aggressive ability here to counter against LiViD.
This is terrifying probably to play against. Vita Coco being able to get that nano boost, all of that extra armor from Sun. Reinhardt is literally unstoppable, just as he says when he gets all of those benefits coming in. However, Saturn does have, oh, here comes the Earth Shatter on the opposing side.
Able to knock down a few as they're gonna have to try and recover from this last opportunity as the Graviton comes in from both sides, pulling the entire team together to scrap it, as it will be the Earth Shatter, though, in return in favor of LiViD, looking to turn it back, as they do have the rally as well, completely cleaning them off this map, as it will be 90% to 99, with LFT looking to have this last chance to get into this.
And KC is switching over to the Doomfist to be able to get to this point at the last second, but there's probably only 2 seconds left in this round. Will anyone touch?
Oh, and they managed to get it into the overtime, keeping them into the back line, trying to contest against it. You do see Rocker doing everything possible to pressure them away. Overtime ticking away, but still managing to keep it. Vita Coco on the front, using that shield to mitigate the damages. Now the rally's gonna come out. Sun trying to keep them up. The rest of them coming in. Self-destruct in the back, looking through the corridor. Not gonna gain anything. Overtime still ticking away. They just need to pressure them off so that they can claim victory on this map of Lijiang. Still pressuring with Vita Coco, along with the aggression coming out by Sun in the back. As the boom comes out, OG getting a double, the D-Mech as well. They're trying to turn it back. LFT needed to get the last member off as they do manage to switch it. Overtime ticking away, and LFT claims Lijiang Tower.
OG coming in with that boop. That was ridiculous. I don't know how you have any more breath, Rich Rad. I hope that is the play of the game, because that is the play of this entire match potentially, as LFT now takes that 2-1 victory. Is this the boop? Is this the boop to counter all boops?
Better be. And there it is!
Hey!
Whoa! OG with the sunglasses, just pulling it off there right at the end, able to turn that fight around. Wonderful job by LFT.
Wow, I mean, both of these teams showed such impressive play. This is why I love Control. Even though we do see quite a bit of triple tank, triple support, I think you truly do see the differences in strategies and skills of these two teams, and the fact that this went to the third map of Lijiang, 99 to 99, well, 100 to 99.
Yeah, but still, that was just intense. And
Wow.
I have to give that very last instant play onto the Doomfist. If there
Whew.
was any slight hesitation in that either, a fraction of it, that would have been a no-go for that turnaround. And again, it's those types of critical moments where you have to make that decision to really make those amazing plays. It just snowballed. It came from that overtime. It bought enough time for them to get back onto that tank. Vita Coco giving some great pressure, supporting by the backline support, Ana keeping them up. And then once OG came back in, as you saw with the play of the game, getting that boop, claiming two, just completely gaining the numbers advantage. It was just a snowball. And I guarantee you, LiViD right now is livid.
I don't want to hear those comms right now, or maybe I kind of do. But definitely, I almost forgot about that Doomfist. Being able to make it on point allowed the rest to just entertain us. Let's just say that was
Truly.
incredible, and it does show a lot of confidence in the individual skill and trust in your teammates. Yes, you do a lot of the times do see the picks to the Doomfist, the Wrecking Ball, but that you never see them work out that well. So we
Truly.
have been spoiled tonight with Overwatch for Tread.
Oh, we really, really have. And again, these two teams want that second attempt. They want to take down Path. They really do not want Path to Poverty to claim
No.
victory. They want to come back through this, and they are going and to scratch through all of this stuff and just grunge that they've got to get through. I don't even know what I want to put the term onto it, but they're looking to fight for it, and I am so surprised. And again, we know that the stamina is going to be drained by LFT doing these back-to-back matches, but they want it. You can see it, the gameplay. They don't want to give anything on this, and they're looking to come back into this. And we'll hopefully see if LiViD can, take a note from that. Be like, okay, we can't count them out of this. We can't just sit back idly and allow them to make these really, really rash decisions, these last instances to turn this around at the end for us.
Yes, and with LFT, they only need one more map to go into the grand finals and get their revenge. But LiViD, they can play spoiler very easily right now. They do have the map pick. We aren't sure what they are going to go for just yet. However, I mean, it's still anyone's game. And a little bird in my ear does say that we will be headed to Hollywood. So this is a map that we haven't seen in quite a bit, I have to say, but you can get so many interesting variations. We are quite used to teams picking King's Row. But what I do like about Hollywood is that there's a lot more. I feel like there's more verticality. There's more spread out flanking routes. Why do you like Hollywood, or do you not like Hollywood at all?
I mean, no, to be honest, I'm going to piggyback off that. I really like the verticality to it. And that's one of the things I'm interested to see here. If we're going to see LFT come in now with that pharmacy play again, so that they can utilize that. I mean, again, once we get towards the tail end of it, there is that tight corridor. You're in the inner portion of the ending building where you have to try and venture out towards the end of it. But on the defensive side, I really feel that you're going to see a lot coming out by LFT and force Saturn to not play that Zarya play. I'm wondering if they're going to try and do that, because we've seen Saturn repeatedly come out on this Zarya play and do so well with it. And if they can try and counterpick to force that alteration in their composition to claim the advantage, I think that's going to go in favor of LFT here to counter against LiViD and go into that grand finals, and they want it.
I really do like your point there, because Saturn has been surprising me all night on the Zarya. Not that I didn't expect a phenomenal Zarya, but just how quickly he's able to gain charge. His awareness is perfect, I feel. Like, just being able to put that bubble on the right player at the right time. It is an underrated skill. But having him switch to the McCree, which he is still very good on, I agree with you. I don't think he has as much impact and space making capability on the DPS hero as opposed to this tank. So we'll see if Sun will decide to play the Pharah, and if he has enough success, that might lead to more hit scan and potentially dive tanks coming out from LiViD. Hollywood, we do like to see quite a bit of Reinhardt. I've even seen a cheeky Bastion or two. But
every once in a while.
Every once in a while, once in a blue moon, that could counter a Pharah potentially. That's hit scan. But oh my, never let me coach an Overwatch the team. I just gotta say, Richard, never.
It's okay. I would be the person who says throw a Risa in there all the time just because I love that character. So I would opt to do that as mine. But I mean, and even like you said, again, if they can force it, because again, McCree isn't a bad play for Saturn. It's not.
Right.
It's a good pick. So it's really, and I think that LFT being in this position, having the one up, They know that they're going into a map that is not going to be picked by them in this, that they're going to have the opportunity, I think, to test this. They want to maybe
Right.
try and use it because, again, they're not looking to lose this. But if they can maybe try this strategy to pull that opportunity out for them, that it's going to net them more value in the long run, I feel. But again, we'll see how it is as we're going to enter into this map of Hollywood.
No, I'm definitely excited. And I wonder if there's a benefit to LFT being in this losers finals. We've been talking a lot about fatigue, but they do get a lot of practice on so many of these different maps. Yes, that is what scrims are for, of course, but being able to be in this high stakes environment
And
and
as we do, oh, go ahead. No,
oh,
you're good.
no, you're good. And unfortunately, it's a little less high stakes because we will be going into a pause. So both of these teams will have a chance to recover from that intensely Zhang round.
And to piggyback off it, I know again we always want to go stamina, like you said. Because even for me, like I'm a person where like if I'm playing for a while, I mean I like the intensity of competitive
Mhm.
play, and it can fuel me as a player. And I think that there are still a lot of people who really, even if you're exhausted and you start getting into it, when you're in a stride, when you're coming back to this, and you know that the stakes are this important, and you want to be in that sense, I guess considering the underdog that you've both gone against the teams that have been taken down by path of poverty, that you're going to come back, you're going to show them another thing. You started to get an understanding of how to beat path of poverty. They were getting to that point of where they were truly contesting against them on a similar level. That if they can now start to exploit those things that benefited them in a second time around, that's going to give them the opportunity, I think, to really contest if they do claim victory on Hollywood and go into these grand finals.
And we just do know that Path to Poverty is getting so much information, though, from this match,
Mhm.
not only from the wide map pool, but we've seen a shift in LFT. The threat of being eliminated from Not for Normies has definitely set in, and there seems to be a bit more fire in their play this round. Yes, we did almost see that reverse sweep, and it was glorious. Let's be real. That first
Yeah,
match was so much fun for us to watch. However,
agreed.
just the threat of not being in the finals, I think, is a different type of motivation that can sometimes be a bit more powerful.
Very true. And again, not to take anything against, LiViD. I know we're talking a lot about LFT, but they're in it too. I mean, they had the opportunity to evaluate LFT. They had the opportunity to evaluate Path to Poverty. So they're in a good spot too, knowing what they're going to encounter moving forward. But in this last tail end of it, they had the upper hand. They claimed dominance. They started to play extremely well into Lijiang. They had that dominance, but then unfortunately fell short with LFT claiming victory there. And they're going to have to really take a moment, regroup, evaluate how they want to play this after doing a back-to-back control map to see if they can really try and claim victory here to keep them going into that, and honestly going into grand finals as well for them.
Yes, I'm interested to see right now what LiViD is actually going to run with. Saturn will be on that McCree right now, as well as Salty staying on that very consistent Diva, and Dunks playing the Reinhardt. So a pretty standard composition for Hollywood, I must say. I feel like right now, as they do go into the defense with Bo on the Zenyatta, this could be very good against a choke hold that we do see during this first point of Hollywood. And who knows, maybe we will even see a full hold, but I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself. Sun will be going on to this Pharah most likely with Casey on the Hanzo. I think that these two picks have the potential to be extremely successful, especially with the power of Hanzo's Storm Arrow and his Sonic Arrow. Being able to scout
Mhm.
out will be so useful. But if Vita Coco stays on to this Wrecking Ball, I mean, how could you not watch the little hamster? Well, the little hamster and the big ball. But right now, there are so many different vertical areas for this hamster to get that pile drive. But Casey will be switching onto the Sombra to get this initial information.
And I don't know if they're going to be able to see it. They're going to look going around that upper position. They will actually get the intel, so they know that they're there. And they're probably getting a little worried. LiViD not seeing them maneuver out, waiting to see if they've already been spotted, and they have, and now are needing to be careful as the rockets are coming from overhead. The aggression pressuring them away and separating their team with the pile drive landing on 4, and they need to be extremely careful. But Saturn getting the pick early on the Sun, that's what we wanted to see. Having an even return, though, so it will be a 5v5 as they try and continue this scrap of a fight back and forth with, again, Sun getting back into this fight, getting some damage overhead. Saturn going to be picked off, though, by Vita Coco. The biggest problem for Sun here, as now they're going to have the opportunity to pressure through and just pretty much be uncontested on this point to start capturing.
Yes, losing Dunks immediately was the end of that first fight for Team LiViD. There was just too much information benefit coming in from KC on that Sombra, and then a couple of rockets and a hack means that Reinhardt is out of the play, and he is the center of this entire defense.
Oh, and they're going to play it risky. Saturn does get the pick onto Sun, but now Dunk's getting a return here onto Vita Coco as... Oh, wow. They will get Sun back up, but not going to have the tank with self-destruct in the back. EMP used as well by KC on the front, trying to prevent them from gaining some positioning here as they want this, but really LFT managing to just continue pressure on this, and LiViD is just in a difficult spot. They're staggered and separated from this entire fight with the self-destruct, hoping to gain something out of that D-Mech as they start to finally contest against it. Sun, Vita Coco, and OG on the high ground, though completely uncontested, with Saturn nowhere really in sight to take them out of the high ground.
Yes, a bit of a miracle right now that Team LiViD has been able to hold for this long, but these mines will make it quite difficult for Dunks, who is on that Reinhardt. However, he manages to get here, but here comes the rocket barrage from Sun!
Ooh, and immediately taken out, rushing that Diva Mech right into the face of Sun, obliterating her immediately as they are going to put them back again into a choke point, back and forth. Team LiViD just doing everything that they can right now to maintain into this fight. Ana, along with KC in the back, continuing to give a lot of healing and assistance against them as LiViD is just hopefully trying to gain some numbers here in players as they are just both being staggered right now. 1 minute and 40 seconds, 3-3 still fighting on the point as they're looking to finally stabilize with LiViD just preventing that pile drive once again.
Yes, and KC does have an EMP available, which will come out now.
And they are going to have the minefield to follow up as well, preventing them from gaining any opportunity to get back on the point. Double kill with the D-Mech following up here. Great job by LFT. They want this quad kill with the mines, knocking them away, and now going to transition into this payload phase of Hollywood.
Wow, that is not a good way to go in Overwatch. That looked very painful, and we do see some switches though coming out from Team LiViD. Dunks will be going to the Winston. He decided to switch over to the Wrecking Ball to get back to point A quite quickly. But now we do have a dive composition in store for us for Team LiViD. Rocker is still on this Brigitte though. This is a bit of an odd fit for the rest of this composition unless Rocker is going to solely focus on making sure that Bo is not flanked.
And you know, this is what we were talking about earlier. We were talking about how if they could force Saturn off the Zarya with the Pharah, and it's gaining them so much value. They switched it now, so they may see the switch. It will be the self-destruct high overhead trying to claim something, but isn't gonna land right into that shield. Not gaining any value with KC getting a double onto Saturn and Dunks. They are going to need to watch their heads moving forward as they continue to try and gain some pressure here with the nano boost going onto Iron as well. Salty getting the return though, along with them taking out the supports in the back line, and they managed to stabilize regardless of those early picks, not only onto Saturn, but onto Dunks as well.
There was quite a bit of investment of ultimates from both teams on that side, with Bo specifically using the Transcendence, losing that at the end of the fight. I'm not sure if that was completely necessary. However, Vita Coco had switched to an Orisa and now is going to a Reinhardt once again. So this will add a little bit more pressure.
Rally on the front, trying to pressure forward. Self-destruct, claiming 3 though, regardless of the rally. Salty netting much out of that self-destruct. We've seen Iron do it once, but Salty did it better this round, and it's going to be another hold here with 2 minutes left.
That was incredible. Just perfect placement there coming in, and Saturn does have that high noon available for this next push. Rocker will most likely use Rally a bit earlier to give his team all of that extra armor, especially for Bo on that Zenyatta. Giving him that extra durability is so important to his survival.
Seeing if they can get the high noon up top. Will be knocked away. Great usage of that D.Va mech to push him away. Not going to gain the sightlines as they look to get a follow-up. Here is the D-mech as well onto Iron. Salty able to get him out, needing to be careful as they no longer have that other tank up front with only KC and Vita Coco. Being a little overwhelmed here. It's a consistent fight with now the primal range coming out in the back. Trying to get in the back line, but will get slept immediately. Dunk's going to get a lot of damage reduction here as we now have the nano boost on the front by Vita Coco. Seeing if they can't get a pressure onto the front line once again. Does get the fire strike, but really they're having a difficult time gaining any additional kills as they try to stabilize this. Earthshatter now in the back though onto Salty. Pin gonna follow up. They want the D-mech so that they can get this Salty D.Va out of the fight as they still continue to pressure forward with a minute still to go, and they're almost nearing this next checkpoint.
Yes, and it does look like Team LiViD is now beginning to think about this game in terms of the third checkpoint, with Dunks and Saturn both resetting, choosing new characters as Zarya and Reinhardt. So we have almost an identical matchup coming in. The only difference being, once again, that Ana and Zenyatta support pick.
Self-destruct in the back,
Oh,
claiming
wow.
2. Iron trying to demonstrate their skills as well to claim lives on. Going to be 35 seconds still to go. They have the numbers advantage. DMAC going to come out as well onto Salty. They will not have that frontline pressure once again. Harassment in the back. Rocker going down so much, being overwhelmed right now for the team of LiViD. They have the ultimate economy, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to use anything out of it as the sound barrier comes out by OG to secure this pressure, as they are just meters away. 5 remaining as they're going to reach this next checkpoint.
And there's only 1 minute and 40 seconds though left on this attack for LFT. KC does have that Graviton Surge, which will be very vital as we get closer to the end of this push. However, there's just so many more resources, almost 6 ultimates online for Team LiViD. It's going to be quite difficult for them to bait out as many ultimates as possible in this short amount of time. So I am a bit worried about their prospects for finishing this map.
Seeing if they can get some positioning here just around the outer side. Graviton gonna pull them together. Nano boost as well. Go fight a couple. They can get the Dunk's getting the Earth Shatter as well, though, to bring down 3 as they want to follow up as the Transcendence and the Rally are Graviton in return, unloading ultimates from both sides to see if they can gain some value out of it with the self-destruct high overhead. Gonna be protected, claiming KC though. Gonna get the Zarya out of the fight as Saturn is still doing quite a bit of damage here on the Zarya themselves in the back with an even exchange. Now gonna take down Dunks. The momentum on the payload is still there. 45 seconds still to go as Rocker now is gonna try and give some defensive support here for LiViD as they want to try and force back LFT. They have the opportunity to do so. Rocker is now finally gonna lose the opportunity of that rally as they look to regroup. D.Va, though, has been demaxed. That is going to be extremely important for them to follow up. LFT needing to exploit that as they try to get back into the mech. Iron doing everything available to get back into that mech to hopefully pressure against it. Still trying to pressure forward on the payload, contesting again. Sound barrier to come out by OG. They do have some pressure still in this. Now they're going to get Salty back into it with the Earth Shatter again from both sides, coming up lightning fast as they do have the Transcendence again. Ultimates refreshed immediately. Graviton as well. Biotic Grenade coming out to see if they can sustain it with the sound barrier now by LiViD. Both teams doing everything possible with these ultimates to keep themselves sustained as the overtime is now starting to shred away, with LiViD looking to completely pressure off LFT, preventing them from claiming the last and final checkpoint of Hollywood. Oh man.
There was probably 12 ultimates used in that single team fight. No joke. I mean, just Team LiViD comes in with 6 full ultimates almost. They use probably 4 within 10 seconds of that entire fight. So LFT almost has victory coming in. However, with that Earth Shatter coming in from Dunks, that was the end of LFT's trail down Hollywood right there. Brilliant push from LFT. However, just that clutch play coming in from Dunks, that was the end for them. It's these ultimate placements have been fantastic. These divas have been able to exploit a lot of the spread out nature of the positioning of their opposing teams and been able to take out the back line when the Reinhardts are being extremely aggressive up front. This is why we've seen so many fantastic self-destructs this entire match.
Agreed. I mean, I'm still just in awe of how many ultimates continued to recycle through that fight. Like, I heard the second Earth Shatter, and I was like, they really just got that. And then another one, and then another grab, and then another Transcendence, and I was like, this is just unreal.
Yes, and there's going to be some very quick charging ultimates as we do look at what LFT will be running for their defense. Sun on the Junkrat. I don't think we have seen him almost at all tonight. I'm really looking forward to this hero. I think that he has excellent shield breaking potential. The only thing that will worry Sun is Saturn on that Zarya being able to use so much charge. Also with Orisa and Soldiers updates, they have a lot more accuracy, less weapon spread. So those tactical visors and superchargers will be able to charge even quicker. Bo will have to be keeping his head down on the Ana. If you lose Bo early, this entire triple tank, triple support composition will be stopped.
And they're trying to throw quite a bit of damage there in the choke point. The Hulk's going to pull them together, but a beautiful biotic grenade coming up front by the side of LiViD, keeping them alive through that explosive damage by the Junkrat. Nobody just yet being claimed for lives, but Dunks in the trap, charging away. That's going to be numbers advantage for LFT, and they're going to have to force a reset here and just want to burn the clock right now. They're in a good spot.
Yes, and Sun almost has another Riptire. That is a team fight winning ultimate, almost ready. And Saturn is only 15% towards that Graviton Surge, so there needs to be a couple of more, maybe even economy pushes for Team LiViD based on that advantage solely from Junkrat's Riptire. That could be a team kill for a triple tank, triple support composition that is so close together.
And now they're going to boost onto the point, trying to just capture it immediately, forcing them potentially down from the high ground, but they still have the positioning. Riptire coming in from the back, wanting to claim one, does manage to do so, getting Bo off this point. Not going to have it as the Earthshatter will be unleashed as well. Seeing if they can get the follow-up onto Dunks, no damage there. They're still being able to stabilize, though. They've got Rocker on the front with the Brigitte, generating enough healing to maintain this, as now they get the regroup here by the Lucio support as well. Antal getting there quickly with the aggression. Still having the Spida Coco tank of Arisa on the point, fortified to deal the damage and try and survive through, but they've still managed to keep them in this corridor and not allow them to get onto the pressure to prevent that turnaround.
Yes, Team LiViD was practically stuck in that cafe, and even though Sun did get that early kill onto Bo, the area of effect healing coming in from Rocker and Antal was able to sustain Dunks and Saturn, both who are very close to these ultimates. Salty is getting very aggressive right now, as we do see some switches on the side of LFT. Vita Coco will be going back to that trusty hamster, and KC and Sun will be switching to the Doomfist and Fire respectively. We have a pharmacy on the playing field right now.
And I like this adjustment. They want to harass in the back. They're looking to use that high ground positioning, and there's the pile drive coming out, using that shield as well. Self-destruct, almost able to claim a kill, but not going to be able to. But an immediate graviton, isolating Vita Coco, not going to be able to retreat on that wrecking ball, and now they've managed to actually turn it back around. Earthshatter by Dunks on the back right, able to get the D-Mech here to follow up on Iron, as they are in a good spot to continue pressuring. And LFT is going to have to be extremely careful for them to not continue this momentum.
Yes, really good use of ultimates coming in from Team LiViD. The nano boost onto the D.Va was a very good way to deal with that pressure from Sun and OG. However, they are still being a pain, pretty much a thorn in Doug's side this entire match. Vita Coco comes in with another initiation.
Trying to see if they can redeem themselves in the back line with the aggression, hoping to get some assistance, but Dunk's already getting the D-Mech along with the follow-up. Here comes the Meteor Strike, though, by KC to hopefully claim a life on the supports, but not going to be able to. Knocked around immediately, very low, finally going down by Saturn as the Rocket Barrage comes out, but doesn't net anything. Still continued pressure by Team LiViD, and they are just demonstrating a lot of aggression right now, and I don't think LFT has been able to really get a strong, stable foothold on this.
No, LiViD's aggression is paying off in spades, as they have 4.5 minutes, a bit over that, to not even finish this entire map. There is such quite a simple win condition coming in for this team. It's difficult to see what LFT can do, but a Graviton Surge will make things even more difficult.
Oh, and the Earthshatter to follow up after they survive through the Biotic Grenade. Dunks getting a huge land on that before the shield had touched the ground. 4 minutes and 18 seconds, and they are looking to turn this corner to claim victory here against LFT. They don't want them to get their Iron, managing to just come up short! And that's going to be LiViD claiming the map of Hollywood.
We are going to a map 5, Rich Rad, the second map 5 in a row for LFT. Right now, the taste of victory is in both of these teams. They can just sense the opportunity to go into these grand finals. But right now, I'm just excited to see what this last map will be. And of course, if we will see even more self-destructs. The divas in these, Iron and Salty both, have been just dominant right now. Who is Poco? Right now, we have Iron and Salty. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even further, you know, with that nice wave right at the tail end of it, just because Salty knew that they were going to get that POTG. But again, going into this last match, it is, I cannot imagine the amount of like energy in both of these teams, and I'm hoping that, you know, again, LFT can really just calm themselves down. They don't want to feel like they're out of this just yet, because they had the advantage again. That you saw them try to be clever. They used Sun on the Pharah. They wanted to force Saturn off the Zarya. They did that. They did a great job of it. But at that point, even though they had Sun staying on the Pharah, they chose to do what we talked about earlier, where do you really want to take the focus onto the Pharah, or optimize what you have currently on the ground, deal the significant amount of damage that you need, following up on the picks, and essentially nullifying that Pharah entirely. We saw it with the Rocket Barrage too, rushing the D.Va immediately into her face, self-killing with that barrage, and they've done a great job turning this around.
Yes, LiViD has the opportunity to really shine right now as we do head over to Dorado for our last map. I think they've shown a lot of versatility, and at the beginning of this entire match, our analysts were talking about how little experience this team does have with one another. It's shocking to me to think that they have only been together for a bit over a month. The way that LiViD performs, the way that they use their ultimates and conserve all of their economy in a very smart way, just it's very impressive, and it reads of a team that's been together for probably a year at least.
And you see things like this though in other avenues and other levels of gameplay. I mean, there were some that we saw in Contenders Open Division. We see it sometimes
Right.
in Trials where there are teams that they don't scrim. Like there are some people who don't scrim as much. Like they do their due diligence on knowing each other. They know their role that they play. They play around a few games here and there, but they don't do it consistently. Whereas there are some teams who practice all the time. There are just those select few individuals that they don't have to have that consistent pressure over and over of practicing, where they come in, they do the work, they net the gains, and then they just honestly perform. So
Yeah.
it's not surprising that there are those still teams that are out there that can do that. And LiViD is partially a perfect example. They're coming in from a short amount of time. They haven't been too much together in synergy wise as a team, but they're really speaking volumes here. And LFT is in this last match is going to have quite a tall order to contest against us now that they've seen that Saturn's still going to maintain that Zarya play.
And just even though when we are talking about LiViD, like you just said, is Saturn going to stay on that Zarya? A lot of the times we're thinking of them as individuals. We're describing their individual heroes, their play, Bo's anti-nades, for example, or a great charge or shatter from dunks. When we're talking about LFT, we're talking about the Farmer C. We're talking about triple tank, triple support. We're talking about Vita Coco and Iron working well together to get that charge and self-destruct. I feel like even in our casting, we've been noticing that there is so much great synergy in LFT. Not that there isn't with LiViD. LiViD is showing it the same way, but I think they are relying, not in a bad way, on individual performance.
And they're able to, and again, they're able to really make them work. That's
Yeah.
the most surprising part. Like if you see the piggyback, you see, hey, Saturn starts to make a play. We are going to fluidly accept what has been given to us and optimize ourselves in that short amount of time to get a benefit out of it. Same thing, with the support plays. Same thing with, even the DPS in the back. There's so much from them coming out as a whole that is allowing them to flourish. And it really is quite impressive to see LiViD do as well as they are, even if it seems that there is like the individual focus or mindset going into potentially each engage.
So when we've gone through control maps, each sub map has a very different meta and a lot of different preferences for each team. I kind of feel like this is the same thing with Dorado. Each checkpoint requires a lot of different tank play. So if you think of the defense, you'll often see an Orisa, a Roadhog, a Zarya, those more slower tanks on first defense, I feel, as opposed to on attack, you see a lot more dive. But as you do go further and further into the map, you will see the dive on the offense turn into some more of the more heavy tanks. You'll see maybe even triple tank, triple support. Or you will see the dive to counter a Widowmaker. It's just a sandbox, Dorado. I do enjoy this map. It is tricky for me to play, as I definitely do not have the skill that these players have. But I do love to see the strategy behind each different choice. It's going to be important for every single attack to have a lot of scouting information. I won't be shocked if KC stays on this Sombra to gain that vital know-how on his attack. It does look like Team LiViD will be running with, interestingly enough, the Reinhardt and the Zarya. So they might be focusing more on the choke, on the second choke, of this map, maybe on the low ground after they do get a couple of initial fire strikes, or maybe even Bo will get a phenomenal anti-nade. Saturn on May. Now that's new.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I was going to comment not only on Saturn on May, but also Sun on the Genji. We saw the Genji play coming out when it was Path to Poverty versus LFT. And both Genjis were showing some great gameplay with their Dragon Blade. So I'm curious to see how well that's going to work here on this aggressive push against LiViD.
Oh gosh, this is going to be a repeat. This is going to be, right now KC is going to see that everyone is in this small room and Sun is just going to fire rockets into them.
And they're going to see if they can get an early pick. They're going to maybe get the better opportunity here, trying to push them away, going now into the retreating position on the upper stairs. But Vita Coco there, along with KC, is looking to flank. They're completely locked away in this point and have the disadvantage. They're going to have to be extremely careful of how they pick their battles here, trying to use Saturn to wall them off, at least from one sector, to hopefully retreat out of another. But here comes the engage again overhead. They're still getting Vita Coco with harass, pile drive in the front, finally able to break the shield, pressure forward. Iron getting the double double here, and they're just going to hold this team back. LiViD now, again, needing to just go to the drawing board and try and be like, what just happened?
Yes, right now, after that team kill, LiViD has an opportunity to contest. You often do see this risky decision on Rialto, for example, where they do defenses often do charge right at the gates. However, it was just so difficult because Sun was blocking them. I felt like Saturn on the Mei was blocking dunks on his own, but early picks onto Sun and Vita Coco will mean that this defense will be able to contest much earlier.
And again, I like Saturn switching onto the Widowmaker. That's what they need. They need the hit scan, but it couldn't have been a McCree. And especially with this map, having the sightlines, having the position, Saturn's going to gain a lot more value out of this pick moving forward on the defensive side.
Dorado is a map known for Widowmaker, especially as we go further into the map. This is going to change the pace and the decision-making of LFT, but Vita Coco is hacked, although he does have that boost.
Self-destruct high overhead, able to just nip Ana on the back, but OG getting the res here on LFT. EMP beautifully positioned in the back with that translocate, trying to follow up, but you do see LiViD still responding effectively. Regardless of that EMP landing on a few members, they have been able to pressure forward enough characters hidden behind those environmental buildings, allowed them to survive through it, as now they've got 2 minutes to try and regroup and get back to this payload.
All of LFT will be very susceptible to Rocker's EMP. You see the Hammond, you see the Doomfist, the Sombra. These characters are almost useless if they do lose their abilities. Watch for this EMP from Rocker to have the largest impact on this fight.
And you will see the early kill on Sun with now Dunks going down with the self-destruct, trying to claim some more out of it, but unable to do so. Minefield to secure that pathway moving forward for the payload, as they're going to have to retreat. LiViD not going to be able to stay in this fight. LFT getting the advantage there early by Sun taking out Dunks and forcing them back.
And Sun taking out Saturn at the very end is almost more important as we do go into the second point. They can, the team of LFT can be a lot more liberal with their positioning, knowing that there won't be a one-shot, one-kill coming their way, at least for the couple first seconds. Nishik does have a nano boost available, most likely going to go to Vita Coco.
Nishik, again, needing to use it here very carefully, as they are going to overwhelm them in the back pick, as you do see Salty and Saturn ambush those supports. Great aggression by this dive composition, switching onto that Tracer to now get the follow-up onto Sun. KC looking to do as much as possible, though, to hopefully try and turn this back into their favor, and having the respawn very close in proximity, 3 minutes and 15 seconds, and now they're going to start pressuring back once again, forcing LiViD to retreat again.
Yes, and LiViD, though, does still have a huge ultimate advantage, but Rocker and Saturn will be switching to the Genji and Sombra respectively. I do like these picks, however, I'm a bit curious to see if Nishik will be able to spot out this Sombra first. Still has that nano boost available, but not anymore as it goes to Vita Coco.
Trying to get onto the low ground, contesting against it, not really gaining much value out of this ultimate, hoping to at least generate some ult charge, but didn't get too many targets in that front, as the EMP now is going to come out by KC in the back, getting extremely low, forcing the translocate to survive just barely, as now you're going to see Sun aggressively pressure in the front, but immediately get taken down by the response of Rocker. The payload now starting to slow in momentum. Self-destruct around the corner, though. Maybe gonna get somebody, just gonna come up short. Both supports responding quickly with now the return. Salty getting one. It will be the support getting picked off here, as it's gonna be 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and they're looking to now start to claim advantage on this defensive side.
Yes, the payload was pushed quite a bit uncontested. There's still 2 minutes online for Team LiViD to make it to this second checkpoint, and they do have plenty of ultimates to spare. Saturn will have EMP available soon. I did like that both, that Nishik did give Vita Coco that nano boost. This is such a squishy composition coming in from Team LiViD, and if you are able to take away their mobility either through a hack or have all of that extra damage onto a variety of characters at the same time, which you can do with Winston's Tesla Cannon, that's the way that they can win this fight.
Nano boost now going to come out here onto the side of Dunks with LiViD in the back, trying to get some damage on the high ground. Does have the Primal Rage, though, as they are going to get a Dragon Blade to come out as well, but taken down by OG. Rapidly, not going to gain anything out of it. Dunks getting a double, though, as the Meteor Strike's now going to come out. Sun trying to find some positioning here in the back line, wanting to gain it, but most likely having to use it defensively here and not going to net anything out of it.
That was pretty sneaky there. We almost had a back cap coming in from KC, who was pushing the payload for a bit until Salty finally noticed that, hey, that truck is moving. But Antol does have a sound barrier to protect his team. It's going to be really interesting to see, though, if KC will be able to use the EMP and cancel out that sound barrier from Antol. If you can get that hack onto that Lucio, I mean, there is no shielding provided to your team.
Oh, and there's the EMP. The sound barrier is going to come out as well. A lot of ult committed by LFT, trying to get these last few meters here to reach this checkpoint. Getting an early pick not only onto Rocker, but onto Saturn as well, as they are still high overhead with the shield going to be coming out by Coco. Immediately slept, but they're not going to be able to prevent that damage. Too much is coming in. They're about to reach this checkpoint and now going to have just under 2 minutes to go for this last push.
2 minutes, so they still have plenty of time, especially if there will be changes on Team LiViD, but Team LiViD looks committed to this composition. They were able to hold LFT for quite a bit. Right now, Vita Coco does have that Primal Rage, so even if time does get close to being run out, he can use that as either a stalling mechanism or a way to get Team LiViD off of the point. However, Salty does have a self-destruct, but first, here comes Irons.
Oh, and it is able to claim two, not only onto Saturn, but onto Antal, taking them out with Iron, getting an immediate follow-up here onto Bo, cleaning up as Salty at least gets Vita Coco, but too much damage has already been done. LiViD having to fall back here, wait for that last few members to get back online to hopefully contest against this.
There's only a minute left, only 1 or 2 fights left for LFT to push this payload all the way to this third checkpoint. Right now, Team LiViD has had quite a bit of success at stopping LFT during these third checkpoints. So even though Saturn and Bo have switched to the McCree and Zenyatta respectively, I still have faith that Team LiViD will be able to stop the next push.
Salty now getting onto that high ground again, waiting to see if they can't get an engage, pressuring them back. LFT needs to be extremely careful here. OG almost getting picked off. They do not want these staggers right now with these last few seconds that they have to get back to this payload and start pressuring.
Yes, they only have 30 seconds remaining, and right now, Sun is starting to scope out what the defense is coming up with. KC is getting ready for this massive EMP, most likely going to be paired with that Meteor Strike coming in from Sun.
And you see LiViD being very careful, not going to get clustered, but they will find two in the top ground. EMP going to be used to try and get the follow-up. They still have the Meteor Strike, haven't used it just yet as it will be unleashed. Trying to find that positioning in the back, taking out the support, getting Bo, along with the Rocker support, will be taken down, getting knocked away. They have the momentum here. They want to keep this going and make sure that they do secure this map on Dorado. As they are nearing it, you do see LiViD now coming back out. They have the respawn, still managing to contest against it, but immediately going to get taken down. Dunks brought down by Iron. Transcendent's going to be forced by Bao. Bo needing to be careful, starting to get back into this Remax self-destruct as well. They have a few meters left to go, but Sun is still doing an amazing job sustaining through this as the healing is being so well received in the back by the supports, allowing Sun to continue flourishing on this payload as it continues to push. DMX still active here for LiViD, needing to get back into it. Salty almost about to have it back online to help try and prevent it as they do get the minefield though. There it is. It will unfortunately be, or it is going to be round one completed.
Bo was the star there of that last defense. Being able to call out all of those Discord orbs allowed Team LiViD to really capitalize on the lack of shielding coming in from LFT. I really do like how Bo has been playing on the Zenyatta. I have said before that I do personally prefer Ana as a healer right now due to her anti-nade, but the Discord orb has made such a difference in this entire night full of games that I might have to change my mind a little later on.
I mean, it really is. I mean, ever since that patch update, allowing the heal coming out by the ultimate made such a huge benefit for the team. I mean, it's not to say that the Bionic Guardian has always been, has been not as important, but because of those slight alterations, it's really what we needed to give a variety and what supports are able to be selected, especially with this type of 3-3 composition. It gives a lot of versatility to these teams, as we're now going to see them come into this, most likely going to see, again, that same type of play, but actually LiViD may look to change it up a little bit here.
Yes, I'm curious to see what the offense will end up, but first, I just want to talk about this defense. We have a dive defense coming in with Iron. Although hasn't locked in the Diva, I anticipate that he will be choosing that character. KC will be able to get some early scouting information if any of Team LiViD is looking out the window a little bit too closely. And Sun is back on the Genji, so that Nano Blade will be available if him and Nishik are able to coordinate their ultimates quite well. I think that this is an interesting pick. We typically do see a bit more of the Orisa or the Reinhardts even on first point, but I am liking this choice, especially against such a squishy team. Another dive coming out from Team LiViD with Saturn on the Sombra.
And this Sombra v Sombra play is going to be interesting. We saw it more towards the end of it, trying to see if they can get some early damage as Saturn and KC are looking to contest against one another on the high ground as the rest of the team really maintains this pressure on the low ground. Trying to get some initial pressure as well. Now going to have Rocker high overhead, getting the deflex, trying to withstand that incoming damage, almost getting out of position here as Dunks just still continues to try and gain pressure. They're having a difficult time maintaining anything on the defensive side. They don't want to commit to anything yet since they haven't found the opportunity to gain much out of the encounter.
No, and as Iron is trying to bully Dunks out of position on that Winston, you can see the health pools are starting to suffer on Team LiViD as Bo is taken out.
And Sun gets the double with one of them being the reset on the dash. It will be OG now getting the DMAC and the follow-up. Support's coming in big right there as it will be LFT managing to pressure Team LiViD away.
However, Nishik is also taken out on that Ana, and because of the spawn advantage of the attack, this could be the opportunity for LFT for Team LiViD to push this payload even quicker. Sun does have a blade available, and Nishik is 85% to that nano. So I think we'll have a nano blade before the end of this first section of Dorado.
And you see them being here. It comes now. As you said, the nano blade going to come out on the front, trying to see if they can gain value out of it, but bit of a difficult time. There's the dash that we want, wanting to that multiple times, as it will be LFT getting a great pressure onto LiViD, and they're just again gonna have to force a reset. And again, they still have time. They still have 2 minutes and 20 seconds though. Even though they do have two ultimates still on LFT, they're starting to generate them. The dry pushes are coming in favor of LiViD.
Yes, they are. They're about to have 6 ultimates online, with Dunks about to have that Primal Rage. I love the initiations with the EMP, but I'm really hoping that Salty and Saturn can coordinate that so we can get an even more exciting self-destruct. I mean, Salty has had triple kills, maybe even a quadruple kill tonight. But if that EMP is used wisely, we could even get a team kill.
Now the Dragon Blade gonna come out as well. Rocker looking to deal a lot of damage, managing to get one. Saturn getting a follow-up. Also gonna have the EMP as well to try and prevent them from gaining any more movement on this payload moving forward. And they didn't even have to commit that much to this. They still have 3 ultimates as they're gonna reach this next checkpoint.
I am happy that they ultimately did not use that self-destruct. A lot of restraint coming in from Team LiViD. It's a great move, as right now they are going extremely aggressive, trying to make sure that LFT can stay as far away from the payload for as long as possible. But Sun will be switching over to the Doomfist. That will make Antol's life on the Lucio, and especially Rocker on the Genji, a bit more cautious, as Sun can take out either of those characters with one punch.
Starting to fall back again. The aggression is very, very real, as you said, and they're looking to try and kind of regain some composure here. Bo gonna get slept in the back. They're gonna look to exploit that, immediately taking out the support. Not gonna withstand it, as they're just being able to pressure him back once again. A little bit too much aggression there.
I agree. The team was just so spread out, and because of the slow healers on the backline pushing the payload, there wasn't a lot of self-sustain available if Bo had already used that anti-nade and sleep. So ultimately he was slept himself, and I mean, we just did see what happened, but here comes the Nano boost on Vita Coco.
Trying to get into the back line to harass, but having a difficult time being around quite a bit here, as they're just again all out of position. Multiple team members in all different areas of this map. No real coordination as they try to just withstand the incoming self-destruct. Nobody gonna get picked. Remech immediately. Iron almost going down, barely surviving into that mech, as both monkeys continue to thrash in that back line. Sun doing a great job though, trying to get some isolation, with Rocker getting a follow-up though, to, as you said earlier, trying to see if they can counter against it, but Rocker getting the advantage. Still continuing to contest on this payload, as they're going to now force the Primal Rage. You see them, Vita Coco, doing everything possible to maintain this as we still pressure forward. And, you know, back and forth, they just continue to throw everything they've got at it.
Yes, Nishik with the high skill sleeve coming in there as well, getting that onto Rocker, who also has there's going to be a Nano Blade coming in soon, most likely.
And the EMP, there's the blade by Rocker, gaining a double, getting both OG KC along with Nishik, as they do get the triple with that Meteor Strike, trying to gain at least one, does do it, but so much damage is being done by Rocker that they have to make sure that they keep an eye on that, as they still manage to try and keep Vita Coco alive along with Iron on this payload. And they're just running the clock right now, 2 minutes to go, and LiViD is doing still a great job on this defensive side.
Well, LFT has to be very proud of themselves right now for stopping this payload for so long, as Salty now does have another self-destruct. They will have to be quite mindful of this, as Vita Coco is the only means of a shield right now on this side. So right now for Salty, a win condition will be baiting out that shield early from Vita Coco, or even better, waiting to have that Primal Rage released, and then the self-destruct of our dreams could happen once more.
Rocker again almost having that Dragon Blade, waiting for the nano boost as they continue to attack on this map, trying to get the kill with the self-destruct. Gonna get a lot of damage though onto Vita Coco, a sliver of health left and needing some assistance, but this is where LFT is now starting to get staggered. So many members low. Dunk's getting a double as they're gonna look to try and be able to get that. Oh, the Primal Rage just in time by Vita Coco with that little bit of damage left as the Dragon Blade comes out. Rocker looking to do a lot more damage here as we saw earlier, wanting it a second time around, getting a DMAC along with Vita Coco as they reach this next checkpoint with just 2 meters left to go.
I almost thought that Casey had used that EMP right before he died, but thankfully for LFT, that resource is still available. Really impressive play coming in from Team LiViD with Saturn getting the hack onto Vita Coco, the only means of shielding early for that self-destruct. However, Vita Coco was able to be as sneaky as a giant gorilla can be and still managed to stay alive throughout that fight. However, right now, as we are getting closer, there is 2 minutes left, and the payload is moving quite quickly.
Self-destructed nano boost going to be used, trying to claim one in the back, not going to gain it, but Vita Coco does net the kill onto Salty, and they're looking to follow up here. LFT gaining a lot of value out of this engage. They had the positional advantage on the high ground and exploited the low ground of LiViD, but they're still looking to keep 2 ultimates. Saturn, along with the Lucio sound barrier, will be available for this next engage on their end.
Yes, and remember, if Team LiViD is able to push this payload even further than LFT, they will have made it to the grand final. So much is at stake for this attack. They will have to be a bit cautious as there's only 1 minute and 20 seconds left. There's an opportunity for 2 pushes, maybe a chance to build in even more ultimates before they go in.
Hack gonna come out now on Vita Coco, needing to be careful, not wanting to get out of position here, get picked off with 1 minute to go. Again, we do want to see if they can claim victory here, holding on this defense to go against the path to poverty, as we do see them engage in the back. Vita Coco very aggressive, looking to get very low, manages to jump out in time with the healers right close behind to keep him up. As there's 2 ultimates still available, now going to be 3. It will be Iron with that self-destruct, most likely going to use it on the high ground, but the Dragon Blade is going to come out. Rocker in the back, EMP along with the nano boost, now trying to follow up as they do have the knockdown, seeing if they can get the kill, but not going to be able to. No real value as the self-destruct high overhead prevents their positioning and still continues to push. 35 seconds still to go. LFT having the respawn advantage, getting out as quickly as possible, as OG now is also going to have that pressure, giving some speed to Sun with the nano boosted meteor strike coming overhead, claiming the kill onto Bo as he gets another. Saturn taking it down. Iron as well, gaining Rocker. They're looking to hold them back. 20 seconds. This is the last chance for them to get there, but they're being so aggressive. You do see LFT wanting to make sure that they are nowhere near this as they completely retreat back. 10 seconds here. This is the last chance for LiViD to get there. They're going to have that monkey on the front, and they're going to have to commit to this. They won't have Salty, though. The mech is not available. They have to get there with 3 seconds to go. Will they do it? And the Primal Rage is going to be forced. Seeing if they can knock them away in the back line. Iron going to give some great damage, but the Discord Orb needing to be careful of. Not wanting to get taken down. Saturn on the Zarya on the front with the EMP now going to be used by KC. Trying to see if they can claim victory here to go into the grand finals as KC gets the kill on the Dunks. The Primal Rage not going to gain too much more after already getting the support. Overtime now ticking away, wanting to hold them back. Self-destruct on the high ground, trying to get a kill. Shield there to prevent it as they are just seconds away from claiming it, as they will be able to hold. LFT claiming victory on Dorado and going into the grand finals.
Fantastic coming in from LFT. Shout out to Sun with that Doomfist play, which allowed Team LiViD to retreat. They completely switched up their composition. Had Dunks come in with that Primal Ridge to be able to touch the payload, as they had switched over to such slower characters. But the EMP coming in from KC was pretty much the final strike that LFT needed to become the winners of the loser bracket and once again have the opportunity to make it to the grand finals. We do have our grand finals set up, Rich Red. I mean, I can't think of 2 more worthy teams than the ones that are in here.
I gotta tell you, and LFT has got their work cut out for them. We have seen them now go against Path. They unfortunately lost, taking now the victory against a not so easy challenge of Team LiViD, and now gonna have to come in back against Path to Poverty, and they have a lot to go through. They're gonna have to persevere through this, but I still think with the amount of gameplay, the coordination that they've been able to do as a team, as we said earlier, they might still have a chance to get this, and I'm really excited to see how this is going to turn out against Path.
I think there's a very high chance that Team LFT will play 15 maps tonight. They have already played 10. I mean, my fingers are kind of crossed. I mean, poor guys, but
hey,
I'm loving it.
Hand warmers. Got to get those hand warmers. Got to keep them right there. Rub the hands together. It's getting into the wintertime. Alrighty, and again, we will go ahead now back to our analyst desk so they can take a further detailed look of how this went. Again, another amazing 5 maps that we just saw. Take it away, gentlemen, and let's see what your information on it is.
You guys are 100% correct with just the fact that we are seeing so many games. These games are so close, and LFT, they don't look like they're getting tired. Now, they definitely looked a little fatigued, but they finished strong. And we were commenting on some of their plays. It definitely looks like some of their players were making, snap decisions that just weren't maybe not processing the battlefield appropriately. But I mean, they came on Dorado. And you know what they did? They slowed it down just a little bit, and they started to regain control. So, Paulsable, what were some of the big things that LFT needed to do and did to win out on Dorado and claim this series and send themselves to the grand finals?
Well, in today's meta, we love to talk about tank players, right? We love to say who's winning the front line, but that wasn't the story here for LFT. That's not how they won out. Vita Coco, a lot of the time, was getting kind of battered around, and it wasn't his fault. But the front line from LiViD just loved to bully the ever-loving crap out of him. So where it really came down to LFT winning this out was when their DPS players could pop off. When they got those ultimates, they had the right positioning. Sun and KC decimated team fights.
So, Mukaibu, we were looking at the rematch now, LFT versus Path to Poverty. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to in that you saw from this game that you're hoping LFT keeps moving forward?
Well, if I were Path to Poverty, I would be hoping that Dove was watching Saturn, because what Saturn did whenever he was on McCree, he deleted Sun just by existing. By the end, you would see as soon as Sun saw McCree, it was like, okay, time to switch. Goodbye. I'm going Genji. And that was definitely the right call, because Saturn was completely shutting Sun down on that Pharah. If Path to Poverty can get McCree play that's anywhere near that good, they're going to have an easy time of it. But I'm not sure, because of how much they struggled in the previous match. Sun's got 10 maps under his belt now, and it's going to be a question of whether or not the warm-up is as bad as the fatigue.
That's very true, but we have seen the team that struggles pull it out. We saw it at the end of the South Korean contenders with Runaways versus Kungdu. We saw it in stage 1 of the Overwatch League with, the London Spitfire playing 15 games in one day and winning the stage 1 final. So this is something that can happen. Just it's that perseverance. It's that, guys, look. Are we really going to lose now? Are we going to have spent all day playing, 10 to 15 games of Overwatch to lose? I don't think so. So as we start to wrap up the coverage for game 2 of our 3-game set for the day, I want to ask, who was the MVP player in your mind, Paulsable?
Like I said, I think I really got to give it to Sun. Whenever he had room to work with, he really just, like I said, decimated, right? He was always finding 3-4 kills a fight when he wasn't the first one dead, right? But there are other players that I'd like to give honorable mentions to really quick, because they gave us kind of a quiet series against Path to Poverty. But I think Nishik and Iron on the flex support and off tank respectively really opened up this